Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here, and on this day, exactly 1 year ago, Hearthstone Mercenaries was launched. Yes, today is Hearthstone Mercenaries 1 year anniversary. Happy birthday Hearthstone Mercenaries, it has been a ride. A lot has happened during the year. I started creating Hearthstone Mercenaries content immediately from the launch, so I've been here throughout this time, and quite a few things have changed with Mercenaries during this time. And during the first year we got all this content. The game launched with 51 mercenaries, and nowadays there are 114 mercenaries in the game, so 63 new mercenaries have been added. They have also added 59 new bounties since the launch, and there have been 6 limited time events. Also, we got the training grounds building for the village. They actually haven't done a whole lot with the village, really. Well, training grounds is just like, okay, way to level up your mercs. And then for heroic bounties we got cursed loot, so occasionally you can drop by a mystery node and you can pick up some more difficulties in exchange for better loot, but that's in no way constant. So largely most of the content we got during the first year was new mercenaries, new bounties, and they started doing these limited time events. When you look a little deeper into the new mercenaries that were launched during this year, you can see that they have actually added quite a bit of complexity into mercenaries fights. Because first of all we got Valera, we got all this stuff with the speed manipulation. Speed manipulation was really the first theme that they added. And then they started to add in role change mechanics. So now you can force your opponents to change roles, sometimes your own mercenaries change roles. And as the latest thing, they have started adding a lot of these bench board mechanics. Something happens and a mercenary from your bench appears on the board. You can send mercenaries back to the bench. Well, a lot of interaction between the 3 mercenaries that are on the board and the 3 mercenaries that are on the bench. And generally, the newer mercenaries have been stronger than the old mercenaries, so over time the power level in the game has grown. Blizzard has also been a little bit undecisive about the main core gameplay loop, the way to gear up your mercenaries, which is by completing their tasks. First of all, you got tasks one by one, but you could farm them in Heroic Air Elemental very, very quickly, because that was like one of the easiest bounties. You could take your level 30s there and we just get a lot of tasks. But Blizzard thought, hey, that's too easy. They nerfed that. We had to move to Heroic Bane Hollow. Grind was a lot slower. You could complete like 7 tasks per hour or something. But then, well, diminishing player count made Blizzard buff this core gameplay loop, and then now tasks are unlocked in full chain, so once you get the first task for a mercenary, you complete that and you automatically get the second task for that mercenary, and so on. So now you can just complete tasks much more effectively than even during the Heroic Air Elemental days. Also, many of the grindiest tasks have had their requirements toned down a little bit. Mercenaries is still a grindy game. Like, if you have a batch of tasks, you can have tasks for 4 mercenaries at once. If you want to complete them, you want to complete them simultaneously, because many of the tasks have same requirements, so that you can complete them at the same time if you keep them in sync. And with the new mercenaries, it takes around 3.5 hours to complete tasks from 1 to 18 for a batch of 4 mercs, which is faster than it used to be, but I mean, it is still a fair bit of grinding. When Mercenaries was launched, Blizzard had great expectations for all of their dynamic things about it. For example, even in the fighting pits, any power outliers can be smoothed out by our dynamic matchmaking that takes things like team power into account. Well, that really did not work out, and yeah, you can just face pretty much anything in the fighting pit. We don't anticipate need to balance change, because we have dynamic matchmaking, we have dynamic offers in our shop, so you will be able to buy just exactly the type of things that you want to buy. Well, all of this dynamic stuff really did not work out, and I mean, I think they thought that that would be like the big thing about mercenaries, because everything is just programmatically dynamic, everything's going to be just perfect, and in practice none of that worked, so I guess that was a pretty big hit in their plans for the mode. And speaking of dynamic and speaking of rewards, well, yeah, back in November last year, Blizzard wrote, Currently we're working on another adjustment to how Mysterious Stranger works, which will be included in a future patch. We're also considering holistically reassessing normal and heroic bounty rewards. On both fronts we're testing solutions with player interests in mind, and we'll have changes to share soon. Well, that reassessing normal and heroic bounty rewards never really happened. I mean, they gave guaranteed legendary coins for heroics, but they also lowered the total number of coins you get from heroics, so that was pretty much nothing. It was actually in some ways a nerf, and yeah, that just did not really happen. Also, the pack logic, the portrait logic, pack logic, the philosophy behind Mercenaries packs is to grant you both mercenaries and their cosmetics along the way. We've gotten lots of feedback on both sides of the fence, from those who only care about the functional value and those who love the portraits. We don't have anything to announce today, but we want to let you know that we heard your feedback and looking into this. And also more ways to get portraits. That also really has not happened. Portraits are an impossible task to pursue right now. Sure, sometimes you can get offers in the shop, those dynamic offers, and they typically just aren't what you look for anyway. So yeah, and the mercenary pack logic, again, they built this really complex pack logic for mercenaries, which will then give you these mercs and everything, and it does not seem to work very well at all. People are constantly confused about it. There's tons and tons of complaints because people just don't understand the very complicated pack logic that they built for mercenaries. So overall, they built a lot of very complex systems, and none of them really did what they wanted them to do. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer for Mercs. And overall, despite the advances we have gotten a lot of new Mercs, we have gotten a lot of new bounties, we got the events, then Merc fights are more complex because there are more complex mechanics, more complex abilities available for those Mercs, but there's also still quite some way to go. For example, the solution for excess coins is still missing. I currently have half of the lifetime coins I have earned in this game are totally unusable at the moment. But in the next patch they have promised that there will be an exchange system so that I'll be able to trade some of those coins in order to get coins for the Mercs that I have not maxed. We'll see how that works out. And the PvE endgame was promised. There's going to be a big Mercs moment. We thought it was in May, it wasn't. We thought it was going to be in October, it wasn't. Now we think maybe it's in January. At this point I should say narrator. It will not be. But, I mean, who knows? It might be. So, yeah, the game mode, after 1 year of Blizzard working on it, we have gotten something, but there's still a lot left to do. Many of the things that they thought were going to be great features about this game mode, all of those dynamic and complex features, they proved to be failures. But I still like Mercenaries gameplay. I still think the mode has promise, but I also think that they would need to do a lot more work for this, and I'm not sure. Not sure if they are willing to push all those resources into it. Also of note, today, Mercenaries anniversary. No anniversary celebration for Mercenaries, but, well, we can celebrate it ourselves. Yay! Go Mercenaries! Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.